Tampa Bay is like no place else.
Wait, you can't recycle the bag. You have to throw it away.
Proper recycling keeps it that way for everyone. Bags tangle in machinery and can bring sorting efforts to a halt.
No bags.
Trash the bags and keep our recycling program moving forward.
No, Mom, look. No plastic bags.
Do your part to keep our recycling bag-free. Trash the tanglers or return them to participating retailers. For more information, visit tampabayrecycles.org.
Don't let mosquitoes ruin your day. Fight the bite by removing standing water on your property. Standing water of any kind is a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Do your part and help reduce the mosquito population.
Visit hcfl.gov/fightthebite.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the April 9th meeting of the Hillsborough TPO. It's a pleasure to see everybody here. Looks like we have a fairly full house. That's nice. So if you would, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. I'd ask the secretary to call the roll, please.
Good morning. Ross?
Here.
Wostel?
Here.
Cohen? Here. Myers?
Here.
Bowles?
Here.
Miller?
Here.
Councilmember Maniscalco is excused. Clendenin?
Here.
Hurtek? Here. Kilton?
Here.
Gray? Klug? Stevens? Slater? Hartfield?
Present.
And Joseph?
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And so a couple housekeeping items. Our AV staff has asked me to remind everybody, I think we're pretty good about it, but to please turn your microphones on and off because they get feedback if you leave them on. Second thing I'd like to do is welcome Mr. Stevens to the TPO board. It's nice to have a new member and welcome aboard. We're very happy to meet you. And would you like to say a few words?
Well, good morning. Good morning, Michael Stevens, CEO Tampa International. I apologize for being a slight bit tardy. We had a incident out at the airport, but I'm delighted to be here. Looking forward to getting to meet the folks here whom I do not know and participating in whatever meaningful way that we can.
Well, we look forward to having you aboard, so thank you for
so
being
much.
here. So, next item is a recognition of outgoing District 7 Secretary David Gwynn. I do have some cheat sheets here, although I think most of us could do this from heart here, but I do have a few things. So, as most of us know, Secretary Gwynn has been the last 8 years here with us in District 7, overseeing, says here, many exciting projects. I don't know if you can, I bet you couldn't even put a number to that if I, it's just amazing to me how big that district is and how many things you have going on. And even more amazing to me is when I ask you or your staff about it, you know about the project, and I don't know how you keep up with that. But we've also know that in this community, we've been through some turbulent times and transportation issues that seems to be in our DNA here in Hillsborough County. But, and the Secretary has handled this with poise and professionalism. Well, I think everybody here will think of David when we drive through the West Shore Interchange or along the new Howard Franklin Bridge. Those are real game changers here, obviously. He's been a champion of safety, receiving national recognition for innovative strategies to help ensure we all return home to our loved ones. His contribution to this board really can't be overstated, and if I were Justin Hall, I'd be a little nervous right now because he certainly has some big shoes to fill. And this I did not know until this morning, is David will be moving to Raleigh, North Carolina to be closer to his newly born granddaughter and plans to spend time traveling with his wife. And I did not know you were going to be moving away, so we're very bittersweet. We hate to lose you. You don't get to drive on all the stuff you built. So would you like to say a few words?
Well, first, the last 8 years have been, went by really quick in some ways and went by really slow in a few others. But some of you were on the board 8 years ago, a few of you still, and I think over the last 8 years, we've made a lot of headway in a lot of areas. Coming out of TBX was a tough time, but we were able to find some ways to navigate that and still work on safety and mobility. I've appreciated the support and the relationships I've developed with all the members of the board. I know some of us agreed on things most of the time and some of us disagreed on things most of the time, but we always were able to keep the conversation going and looking for the better good of the region. I hope that going forward, one of the things I was really comfortable in retiring was the fact that I did have somebody that could come in and take over and it'll be seamless. Justin will do a great job. He's been my right hand now for a while. He'll do a great job. It will be a change for me. I told my wife, I'm retiring, moving to North Carolina. I said every day since July 2nd, 1979, when I joined the Army, I've gotten up in the morning, gone to work, and had a routine. I'll have to kind of figure out how that's going to work. But my family, two of my daughters, grandchildren up there, and I'm really looking forward to it. I will miss working with you all, but you're in good hands. And I just thank you for all the support that you've given the department and myself over the last 8 years and even longer, and I know you will in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, David. So let's give him a round of applause. So, Dr. Wong, how are we doing this? We're getting everybody up front?
Well, I suspect a few folks might want to say a few kind words
Okay.
for our departing secretary. If it's all right, I'll start. In my experience working with the secretary, I've always found him to be a consummate professional. At the staff-to-staff level, he's been amazingly helpful. His contributions will be remembered for a very long time. But what I'll remember most is how he's empowered his leadership team at the district to work with the TPO. It does seem to me that all the boats, choose your mode, are kind of moving in the same direction with only slight turbulence. And I think that's a part of the Secretary's legacy. His leadership team has always been exceptionally helpful, understanding, and responsive to the needs of the TPO, and we really appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Board members, Commissioner Cohen.
Thank you very much. I was on the board when Secretary Gwynn started, and it's really hard to take us back a decade to how deteriorated the relationship was between DOT and the board. Almost immediately on taking over, Secretary Gwynn really wiped the slate clean, and we started to build a real partnership. This is difficult work, and at times, you know, different interests intersect with one another, and it's hard to work through some of the issues that come up. But Secretary Gwynn brought a whole new level of communication and transparency, and I think real passion for improving the transportation in this region. And we have some wonderful new projects that are either just being completed or somewhere in development that are a direct relation to his leadership. And I agree that we couldn't be in better hands going forward with Mr. Hall, and that is also a testament to his leadership in grooming such a great successor who we look forward to working with. But thank you so much for everything, because it has been at times a challenging road, but it's not to get off on the road metaphors, but it's been a road well traveled. So thank you.
Councilmember Clendon and
Yeah, Mr. Secretary, I've only served with you, a couple of years on this board, but I've been very familiar with your work from an arm's length distance, watching what you've done for the city of Tampa and the state of Florida. And I can say I just pretty much sums up with nothing but impressed, and how you carry yourself, how you work with others, how you work with boards. And on behalf of the city of Tampa, I'm the mayor, I know the mayor, our council chairman, Guido Maniscalco, all 7 of the many members of city council. I know we're very appreciative of the contributions you've made for the city of Tampa, and very much appreciative how much deference you give to our opinions on issues. And as we're working through this process, I feel like we've had a very respectful and high-level types of relationships and communication, and I look forward to your success. And I'm jealous that you're going to be up there with your granddaughter, in the Carolinas. That's perfect. That's the way you're supposed to live life. Not sitting at TPO meetings, sitting in the mountains with your granddaughter is the way to go. So congratulations, and I hope that you have a really long and healthy life up there in North Carolina. And you can come down here and ride that extended streetcar when we get that thing built. So.
Commissioner Myers.
Good morning. Mr. Secretary, I just want to say thank you for your stellar leadership. Thank you for always going with me in District 3 for meetings, because at most times we had a lot of opposition, but you stood the task in explaining why and what we were doing to enhance District 3. I want to say thank you for what you have done, and as you start a new chapter in your life, congratulations.
Mayor Kilton.
I think the word of the day is professionalism, and just seeing how you've always conducted yourself. You've always tried to find ways to make concessions, to find common ground in areas. You've always treated people with dignity and respect, even in times when you weren't granted that same courtesy. And that speaks volumes about your integrity and your character. And just so grateful as well that you set the tone for Secretary Hall coming in. And I have great confidence in the work that he's going to do, and just thrilled about the transition. And wish you very well in your retirement, sir.
Board member, Mr. Klug.
Just want to echo what everyone else has been saying. This is extreme professionalism. Your communications, your improved communications has been outstanding. And of course, your just a dedication and commitment to our community. We really appreciate that, especially at the board. Thank you.
Okay, so I think we're gonna try to get everybody up front. This will be a little, we're gonna have to squish in and squish. That's a technical term, we're gonna squish. Well, we gotta save this spot for him.
Stand next to you.
Are we squinching in? We're gonna do some focus around. Are we doing the sideways squinch?
All right.
You're good.
In about 3 weeks.
Very exciting.
I know a few. My daughter's living there now, and a third one is gonna move up there.
My daughter's just outside Charlotte.
Okay, board members, has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes of our March 12th meeting? And if so, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Who made the motion? Councilmember Clendenin, seconded by Mr. Hartfield. Any corrections or additions to the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? No nays. The minutes are adopted. Public comment. There are 30 minutes total dedicated towards public comment. Each speaker has up to 3 minutes, and we will unmute you when the chair recognizes you. And if necessary, we will follow up at additional time later in the agenda. I think at this point, we only have one person signed up to speak, and that's Mr. Rick Fernandez. Mr. Fernandez, you are recognized.
Chair, let me just take this moment to reiterate comments I made a couple of meetings ago about Secretary Gwynn. Since today seems to be the day for the send-off, I was anticipating and maybe jumped the gun. I've had many interactions with Secretary Gwynn over the last 10 years. I guess whenever it is he actually came on board, I forget now, 17 maybe, from that point forward. And some of it acrimonious, some not. But as I said before, I want to say again, we generally moved, I think, in the right direction, even if all of the incremental movements weren't necessarily to my satisfaction or those of my neighborhood. We did have some meaningful concessions from the DOT, and those are being played out right now in this very moment, actually, right outside my front door. So I do wish you well, Secretary Gwynn. Whatever we had between us was professional, never personal, and I do look forward to working with Justin. He's been a bright light in relationships with DOT for us, and I think we'll work very well together, and you are to be congratulated for your succession planning in that regard. So thank you for that. So wish you well. North Carolina is lovely, and I'm sure you'll enjoy your retirement. That's really all I got to say on that. I still have my chair's report for the CAC.
Thank you, Mr. Fernandez, and that will bring us to our next section, which is committee reports and advance comments. And Mr. Fernandez, you are now recognized as chair of the CAC.
Okay, thank you, and good morning. Again, for the record, my name's Rick Fernandez. I had the privilege of chairing your Citizens Advisory Committee. The CAC met on April the 2nd and took action on one item, which is also on your agenda this morning, I believe. This was tip amendments relating to widenings at Branch Forbes Road and at McIntosh Road. TPO staff presented the tip amendments agenda item, noting its relationship to the previously heard PD&E presentation and LRTP amendments. In other words, we've had this item before us in various other forms several times before. CAC members asked questions related to the need for the projects and traffic on these roadways, how projects are developed and become TIP amendments. There were issues related to the 3 feet of pavement between the lane and the curb, the impact of on I-4 and I-4 ramps, and what the shared use paths connect to. CAC members also asked if a delay would impact this project. Let me just editorially add to that. The reason for that question was that there were many questions being posed by members of the CAC to staff, some of which were not answered simply because the information was not available to the presenter. Some of us felt that we could delay action on this item and allow staff time and DOT time to come back with additional information. So that's what that relates to. Ultimately, the CAC voted to recommend the board approve the amendments. The vote there was 7-2. The CAC also had extensive discussion on one other item, the Suncoast Parkway, PD&E from Van Dyke Road to State Road 52. This is before you today as well as a status report. CAC members asked questions about the project funding, relationship to transit, and the relationship with the current trail. There was no action taken on this, so nothing to report in terms of CAC positions. I will add, just as a conclusory note, we have, of course, a regular meeting in May, the first Wednesday of the month. This will be our first preview of the upcoming TIP for June. We also have a workshop scheduled later in the month. I forget the date now. I apologize. I should have looked that up. I think maybe 2 weeks after our regular meeting and a couple of weeks before our June meeting. Do extend an invitation to members of the board if you'd care to join us in that workshop, the purpose of which is to review in detail the upcoming TIP items and give us an opportunity in the sunshine to discuss them in more detail than we might have time to do during the June meeting. Well.
Thank you, Mr. Fernandez. Any questions, board members? Seeing none. Next up is Harmony McGee from our TPO staff. Good morning, Ms. McGee.
Good morning, Harmony McGee, TPO staff. Regarding today's action items, both the Technical Advisory Committee and the Citizens Advisory Committee recommended that the TPO board approve the Transportation Improvement Program amendments for the Branch Forbes Road and McIntosh Road widening projects. Before making their recommendation, the Technical Advisory Committee advised staff to prioritize safety measures for the shared use paths along these corridors as the design phase begins. We received several public comments via email. Matthew Swain urged the TPO to prioritize transit and other alternatives to driving in the Transportation Improvement Program. He expressed opposition to road widening projects, stating that they exacerbate traffic and represent a poor investment of taxpayer dollars. A letter of thanks was received from Leadership Tampa following our presentation at their Transportation Day class. Executive Director Wong responded to an inquiry from Mr. Taylor regarding the proposed widening of Duncan Road, which the full commentary can be seen in your packets. Additional comments were made through social media. On Facebook, Sam Bowden Akbari commented on our post about the Tampa Bay MPO merger, noting that a larger MPO could help secure federal funding and emphasizing the importance of electing board members committed to transit to improve options in Florida. The Florida chapter of the Congress for New Urbanism responded to our posts on the Branch Forbes and McIntosh TIP amendments, expressing a desire to see greater prioritization of transit. Regarding the Plant City Sun Trail Connection Study Survey, Jillian Wilder and Mike Lamarca voiced frustrations with taking the survey on mobile devices. TPO staff followed up to offer assistance. Additionally, Mike Lamarca shared that he would like to see improved connectivity between the Bon Voyette Scrub Preserve and Lafayette River State Park. Chris Vela commented on Facebook that he finds the current public comment process confusing and experienced difficulty logging into the meetings. On LinkedIn, Katie Habgood shared our post about the upcoming Future Leaders in Planning program, encouraging others to spread the word to eligible high school students. Lastly, we received many messages of excitement and congratulations on social media celebrating the Manhattan Avenue and Boy Scout Boulevard ribbon cutting. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. McGee. Board members, any questions for Ms. McGee? Seeing none, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? I thank Board Member Gray. Yes. Board Member Gray has a motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Board Member, Councilmember Clendenin. All those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? No nays. Next up is the TIP amendments involving Branch Forbes Road and McIntosh Road widenings, and Elizabeth Watkins from our TPO staff is here to present. Good morning.
Two amendments before you today, McIntosh Road and Branch Forbes Road out in the east part of Hillsborough County. As Mr. Fernandez mentioned, this is a little bit of deja vu because we heard a few months ago from FDOT, from the project manager, went in detail about the project, and then most recently it was added into our long-range transportation plan, so you heard a little bit more about it then. But at a high level, these two projects are currently serve as a level of service F, and they play a really important role in north-south connectivity in that part of the county between US 92 and I-4. So part of the purpose and need of this project, so why they are in the project development process, is to help improve that roadway capacity, improve safety, and system linkage. The specific action before you today is the TIP amendment, and the purpose behind that is to ensure planning consistency so that DOT can wrap up the PD&E, which is targeted to conclude later this year. The rest of the phases, so complete design, right-of-way, and construction, remain unfunded for both projects. So as you'll recall, McIntosh Road is currently a 2-lane undivided, and the preferred typical section that's being developed through the PD&E is to have 4 lanes divided with 2 shared use paths on both sides of the facility. And the total project cost is estimated to be about $80 million. Branch Forbes Road, it looks fairly similar with the existing facility at 2 lanes undivided and the preferred typical section looking to be 4 lanes divided with 2 shared use path, and that total project cost is about $65 million. So the actual action is adding these projects to the Transportation Improvement Program. So you'll see on this page, to do the PD&E, it was about $1.5 million and funded with the federal funding source, Surface Transportation Block Grant, for both projects, both for McIntosh and then both for Branch Forbes. So the recommended action today is for the TPO board to approve by roll call vote the amendments to the Transportation Improvement Program. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Sir, can you please turn on your mic?
Motion to add the TIP amendment, to the 2 TIP amendments for Branch Forbes Roads and McIntosh.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Clendenin, seconded by Commissioner Myers. Is there discussion of the motion? If not, we need a roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary.
Ross?
Yes.
Wostel?
Yes.
Cohen?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Bowles?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Clendenin?
Yes.
Hurtak?
Yes.
Kilton?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Klug?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Slater?
Yes.
Hartfield?
Yes.
Joseph?
Yes.
Motion carries 15-0.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Thank you, Ms. Watkins. The next item is the general planning consultant procurement, and our own Megan Batorny from the Planning Commission staff is here to present. Good morning, Ms. Batorny.
Good morning, Board. My name is Megan Batorny, TPO staff. So for the GPC, every 5 years typically, we procure new general planning consultants. And so this year, we went out, we advertised on both BidNet and on our own site. We received 18 letters of response to our RFP. Out of those 18, we decided that we would like to see 13 for oral presentations. We had a panel that comprised of various representatives of the our own TPO staff, as well as Plant City, Temple Terrace, City of Tampa, and Hillsborough County. After 2 days of seeing the 13 firms, 11 were selected to go forward, and that's what we're bringing forth today, are those 11 firms that we may begin negotiations. The 11 firms that were selected was AECOM, Atkins, Benesch, Cambridge Systematics, EXP, Gannett Fleming, GM2, Gresham Smith, HDR, Kittleson, and White House. So the recommended action today is to authorize staff to negotiate a contract with each of the 11 firms.
Thank you, Ms. Batorny. Board members, are there questions? Council member, Board Member Gray.
Yes, thank you, Chair Ross. What is the cost, total cost for these firms?
Johnny?
Dr. Wong?
Sorry, Dr. Wong.
Board Member Gray, the
sorry.
fee will be a part of the negotiation that happens with each firm, varies based on the level of experience for each firm, so I can't give you an exact figure, but when the contract comes to this board in June to approve for execution, all those details can be provided.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, board members? Maybe turn your microphone back off, please. Okay, if there are no other questions, is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Myers, seconded by Commissioner Cohen. All those or any discussion of the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No nays. Thank you. It passes. Thank you, Ms. Batorny.
Thank you.
Next up is status report on the FY 2027-2031 TPO priority list with agencies. So we have several presenters here. I believe the first up is Elizabeth Watkins with our TPO staff. Morning again.
Good morning again. Thank you, Chair. Elizabeth Watkins, TPO staff. And I'm really excited today to be here with our partner local government agencies to come share with you a little bit about their project priorities, which will eventually become your project priorities later this year. So this is the annual presentation of those projects, and the official ranked list will come before you in June. And then that will be considered by DOT for funding decisions the following year. So a little bit about the purpose of the priority list. So just what its name says, it is a ranked list of projects of the priorities to be funded with federal and state dollars in the county. It's a very important tool that we use to communicate with District 7 as they're developing the work program and identifying what federal and state funds can be programmed to these very important projects. But even if dollars can't be assigned, the list also serves as a mechanism to show community support and emphasis behind these projects. And then lastly, we are required by Florida state statute to annually produce this priorities list. So, Mr. Chair, from a flow standpoint, is it okay if each agency representative comes up, speaks a little bit about their projects, and then take Q&A, or would you like to hold questions at the end?
One at a time would probably be good, because otherwise we'll have people coming up and down and.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I'd like to welcome Jesus Peraza Garcia from HART to speak a little bit about HART's priorities.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Good morning, TPO board. My name is Jesus Perez Garcia, HART staff. HART submitted 6 priorities this year. We shuffle around the order a little bit, the ranking, compared to the letter we submitted in February to better reflect our current priorities. Number 1 remains and has been for a while and still is the HART Operations Center Design and Construction Project, also referred to as the Heavy Maintenance Facility or the Integrated Services Campus. Phase 1 is fully funded, Phase 2 is partially funded, and HART is currently developing a financial plan to close that gap. The state of good repair of vehicles is priority number 2. Specifically, bus replacements and midlife overhauls are critical each year. The amount requested could be used to purchase 14 buses, helping HART catch up with our state of good repair backlog. If the TPO identifies less than the requested amount for this year's STIP, HART would still benefit from this funding, and we would still use it for bus replacements. Bus capital improvements are the 3rd priority. This recurring item includes ADA accessibility, bus shelters, other amenities, including technology items. Paratransit CADBL is our 4th priority. This one's new to the list this year. It directly impacts the cost of operations. This system, which tracks HART's vehicles, is critical for improving the efficiency of our ADA paratransit service, the HART Plus vans. This project is fully funded by a 5307 formula grant, but we still wanted to emphasize its importance by adding it to the list of priority projects. The Tampa Arterial Bus Rapid Transit, BRT, it's a long-standing project that remains important to HART, and we want to keep it in the list for continued support. And last but not least is the TICO streetcar extension. This is a key initiative for the city of Tampa, and HART remains committed as a partner in this project. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Board members, are there questions? I don't see any. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Watkins, Tampa next? Good.
Brandon Campbell from the city of Tampa.
Very good. Mr. Campbell, welcome.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. Again, Brandon Campbell, Director of Transportation Services for the City of Tampa. We appreciate your consideration of our requests that we submitted to Dr. Wong recently. Our request letter this year included 18 total projects, which is a reduction from the overall number of projects in previous submittals. That represents our effort at clarifying and simplifying that list. Generally speaking, we basically took the previous list and tweaked it, grouped and split as necessary. That breaks down into 2 projects that would be considered under a state of good repair, 5 Vision Zero projects, 2 Smart Cities projects, 8 projects under real choices when not driving, and 1 under major investments for economic growth, that being the streetcar extension already mentioned a couple of times this morning. So there are several that are listed here. I was not going to go through each of them unless there were questions about those specific inclusions. So with that, I will entertain any questions you all might have for me.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Board members, are there questions? Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I think we have next a representative from Plant City.
I think the next slide is Temple Terrace. If
Oh,
you would
is it?
advance
Okay.
2
All right.
slides, Brian McCarthy, Chief
Oh.
Engineer.
Okay, very good. Good morning again, Mr. McCarthy.
Morning, Mayor Ross. Good morning, TBO Board. I'm Brian McCarthy from the City of Temple Terrace, and we had 10 projects on our priority list. Our main focus has been Boulder Parkway, Temple Terrace Highway, Complete Streets. That's been our #1 project for quite a while now. I do want to thank FDOT, the TPO, and the County Public Works as they've been progressing this project. I understand that County Public Works currently has this under design for our pedestrian signal and resurfacing work. Some of the other projects are just related to the 56th Street FDOT corridor study. We're just looking for some safety improvements, traffic signals, or pedestrian signals. And with that, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Board members, are there questions? Board Member Gray.
Thank you. My question is, especially as it relates to Bullard Parkway, 56th Street, the safety is so critical. Trying to cross the streets there, it's prohibited many of those local businesses to cross 56th Street. And as I also run from one side to the other. So I think the safety element speaks for itself in those various areas of Temple Terrace. The question I have is the usage. Temple Terrace, and Chair Ross could speak more than I can, is it considered a growing area? And this is relating to the corridor of 56th Street, Druid Hills, those areas right there, right by GTE, Temple Terrace, the golf course. Is it a growing area on that side, on the west side?
I would like to think that it is. I know that our City Council and Mayor Ross is certainly looking at our downtown CRA district, and these improvements along 56 is just going to help the pedestrian crossings and the vehicle flows between the west side and the east side of 56.
Yeah, because it's very important that Temple Terrace has that opportunity to grow and to thrive. And the analogy would be, and Mayor Kilton agrees, that Plant City, when it was up, the amount of upkeep and innovation has really led to prosperity in Plant City. And I would like to see that also happening in Temple Terrace. So, my comments are really for the safety, the better mobility, but also for the allowance of growth and development in Temple Terrace. So those are my comments. Thank you. Thank you.
Board member, if I could change hats just briefly and kind of add to that a little bit. The area around 56th Street, the corridor, that area itself is growing, but it's more changing than growing, because some of single-family homes are now being replaced with multifamily homes, like complexes, small 8 to 10 apartments, in a building. It's not exponential growth like's happening in Riverview, but it is growth. We have significant growth along Bullard Parkway, Temple Terrace Highway, however, and that's why continues to be our #1 priority. That's the area of greatest growth for the city, is the eastern area. We now have Amazon, we have a VA hospital out there, we have other new warehousing out there. There's more coming. There's probably the largest tract of land that's vacant in Temple Terrace is under, I don't know if it's under contract, but it's under negotiation for development. That corridor, Temple Terrace Highway Bullard, is the fastest growing, most increased and congested corridor, which is why it continues to be our #1 priority. We are getting there slowly. I mean, this has been a priority for many, many years. I mean, the Howard Franklin Bridge has been built and designed in less time than this crosswalk. And I'm not trying to be facetious. It's factually true. Now, the county does have a plan, but it's still late in fiscal year 26 for construction. So we're now in design. I mean, I thought we were in design 5 years ago. So, I mean, I'm happy that the county's moving forward, but I'm also frustrated that it has taken us, an ice age to get to this point, and we still don't have it. So, I mean, we'll talk when we have it. So, anyway. Other questions for Mr. McCarthy? Commissioner Wastful.
Thank you. And we're all familiar with the word slow in government, so. I got an email the other day of someone showing me that they sent in a request to pave a road from 15 years ago, and it's never been done. So I've been advocating for improvements on this area from a different perspective, which is that there is unrecognized growth that's going to be coming down 301. It's probably going to be where a lot of the people that are going to be living at all of the commercial growth that was just discussed by the mayor are going to come from. And it's extremely important. I've said it before. There was a torpedoing of the improvements of 301 that happened a number of years ago, and it's those type of setbacks that are just going to continue to exacerbate things. And this Bullard Parkway is one of the ending stretches right there of where people will be coming down from Pasco, which we can't stop Pasco from growing. I believe 54 is going to be being extended to 301, to my understanding, which is just going to introduce more and more downward traffic from that 301 corridor into the Temple Terrace commercial area. So I just, if you need any more advocacy from me that you haven't gotten, I know I've done it in the past, I will continue to do that, be your partner. It's, again, because sunshine law is absolutely ridiculous. I can't just go and talk to the mayor about it, because we might technically vote here, but you're welcome to come and coordinate with my office on whatever you need.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Now I think we have Plant City. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, board members. My name is Frank Kokenauer. I'm a senior engineer in the Plant City Engineering Department. I want to thank the TPO board and the department for their assistance with previous projects that the city has. We have 7 projects on the list. We have 7 projects on the list. Oh, thank you. Most of these have already received quite a bit of support and are moving forward. For discussion's purpose, I've broke these into 4 general categories. The Canal Connector Trail, Phase 1, is a very important pedestrian facility, north-south pedestrian facility that will link neighborhoods and those neighborhoods to commercial centers. And it's very important to the city, and we look forward to moving forward with that. DOT is working on that with us some right now. A number of these projects are intersection improvements that are important to commercial and regular local traffic, and a number of those are proceeding at this point also. We have 2 projects that I'm going to refer to as planning in general, but frankly the planning is leading into design for a couple of generically referring to them as complete street projects from Alexander Street, or on Collins and James Redmond Parkway, from Alexander to Alsobrook, and then also on State Road 39 south of Alexander to Trapnell. These projects, we're looking forward to having detailed planning or design, shovel-ready design plans available, so that as other city upgrade projects come up or other private projects come up, we can implement the complete street concept in those areas in a cost-effective method, and hopefully expedite getting those done. That one of those projects is the only new project Plant City has on the list. That is the Collins Street from Alsobrook to Alexander. So I just wanted to note that's the only new one we have. The only major project really on our list is State Road 92 from Plant City to the County Line Road. We think that's a very important corridor, both for local traffic, but also in a very heavily commercialized industrial area, but also for relieving traffic on I-4, local traffic that probably should not be on I-4, but relieving traffic there, as well as serving as one of the important emergency bypass routes for issues on I-4. So I stand for any questions.
Thank you very much, sir. Board members, are there questions? Commissioner Miller.
My question is specifically related to the South Park Road, Coronet. Will that intersection, are you going to be straightening that intersection? Is that part of the plan? I know it's a very detailed, but that road comes in, if you're traveling from south to north and have to turn west, that's a very dangerous. I just didn't know if they were going to try to.
It is a little bit awkward of an angle. DOT's looked at a couple options. We haven't seen anything in a few months. They're doing some preliminary engineering right now, but they've opened up the bag as far as what they're looking at. They've looked at a roundabout there, which really doesn't seem to fit well, but hopefully there will be some degree of realignment, but I don't think there's a lot of right-of-way currently available for much realignment.
Thank you.
Other questions, board members? If not, thank you very much, sir. And I do
you.
believe a representative from Hillsborough County is now with us. So good morning, sir.
Good morning, board members. I'm John Patrick from Hillsborough County. I think the PowerPoint is up. I think you guys, yeah, there you go. So thank you for your time. We have several projects on our list, and it has been approved by our Board of County Commissioners. As you can see, there is a lot of projects that on the list. And it's no surprise that our needs are much greater than just the small list that you have here. We understand that the TPO cannot fund all these projects. That's not the intention of submitting all these projects to the TPO. But what we have been successful in the past years is able to leverage this the priority list for getting funds in terms of grants from the state and the federal government. So that is why we have submitted these projects on the list. Just to give why it is important that we have a lot of roadway projects than trails or other projects is because our county is growing. South County, just by South County itself, the population is going to be 3 times the city of Tampa in the next 20 years. So you can fit 3 city of Tampa in South Hillsborough County. So that's the amount of population that's moving in. And we have, rightfully, our board has decided to expand the urban service area to accommodate this growth, and more is needed in this area. We are able to leverage federal funds and state funds, and working with the department, we have had millions of dollars, literally millions of dollars in South County. Example is Big Bend Road right now is being widened. It is a good example of leveraging federal, state, and local dollars there. Another one is Crosstown and Leroy Solomon Expressway extension that we are looking at. Our board unanimously approved that project. So those are the kind of projects that we need. And of course, we do need trails. Of course, we do need smart transportation, but the majority of the projects are roadway projects. And that's why you have a big list of projects here. And we are continuously working with your staff, and we have real good success in leveraging, just being on this list of TPO. So I would ask that the board look at this project, the TPO board look at this project and prioritize this, and so that we can continue to get federal and state dollars. I haven't gone into specific questions on the specific projects. If you have any, I would be more than happy to answer.
Thank you, sir. Board members, are there questions? I don't see any, but thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All righty. There's no action required at this point, Ms. Watkins, I don't believe.
Nope, I'll just wrap it up, that the
Okay.
next step will be to do a data-driven analysis of all of the projects, and that will come before you for your consideration in June.
Very good. Thank you very much. Next item is the Suncoast Parkway PD&E from Van Dyke Road to State Road 52. And we have a representative of FTE here to explain. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. My name is Michael Guru. I'm here presenting on behalf of Florida's Turnpike Enterprise today, providing a project update on the Suncoast Parkway PD&E study. So as part of our agenda today, we'll be discussing our recommended typical section, interchange modifications, talking about the project cost, the study schedule, and then concluding with an overview of the public hearing that is scheduled this week. So the limits of the study that we're conducting is the Suncoast Parkway from south of Van Dyke Road in Hillsborough County to north of State Road 52 in Pasco County. So the project does span both counties. Within those limits, we have 5 existing interchanges, as well as the consideration of 1 potential future interchange at Rangeland Boulevard, which is located in Pasco County. And also as a reminder, the Suncoast Parkway is a toll facility, so all improvements that I'm talking about today will be funded using toll dollars. So the P&E process that we're following, we're looking at existing conditions, future traffic needs, using that information to develop project alternatives, and then evaluating those alternatives based on environmental and engineering factors. taking those options to the public for consideration, and then concluding with a study recommendation. The need of the project is based on travel demands for year 2050. We're also looking at enhancing safety, improving travel time reliability, and enhancing emergency response and evacuation times. So this graphic here represents the year of need for the project. So from south of Van Dyke Road to north of State Road 54, which is in Pasco County, we're showing a need for 6 lanes today. I should mention that the entire corridor right now is 4 lanes. So that stretch there in light blue, we're showing a need for 6 lanes today, and then by 2040, showing a need for 8 lanes. And then when you get past State Road 54 up to Ridge Road, we're showing a need for 6 lanes by 2030. And then from Ridge Road to State Road 52, we're showing a need for 6 lanes by 2035. This typical section represents the segment from south of Van Dyke Road to north of State Road 54. As I mentioned, the Suncoast Parkway is 4 lanes divided, as noted at the top. The proposed typical section represents the ultimate need, 8 lanes. That's shown there. I should also mention that one of the notable characteristics of the corridor is the Suncoast Trail, and that begins at Lutz Lake Fern Road in Hillsborough County. North of State Road 54, we're showing a need for 6 lanes, as I mentioned. That's depicted in the typical section in the bottom. So now I'll cover the interchange alternatives. As I mentioned, there are 5 existing interchanges and 1 potential new interchange. For the purpose of the presentation for today, I'll be covering the 2 interchanges in Hillsborough County. So that includes Van Dyke Road and Lutz Lake Fern Road. Van Dyke Road is currently a diamond interchange, and we're proposing modifications to that existing interchange to include additional turn lanes. Notably here, the county is working on improvements to Van Dyke Road to widen Van Dyke Road, and so we've been coordinating with the county on that. The county is planning a shared use path on the south side, and as part of the improvements that we're proposing for this project, we'll be adding a shared use path on the north side. The second interchange in Hillsborough County is Lutz Lake Fern Road. Again, this is a partial clover interchange with the loop ramps on the north side. We're proposing modifications by adding additional turn lanes, extending storage lengths. Also, as part of this project, we're proposing to include a shared use path on both sides. In the northeast quadrant of this interchange, you have Steinbrenner High School. Also, there's the elementary school and the middle school in that same property area. And we've been coordinating with the Hillsborough County Public Schools on current backups that are occurring at that signalized intersection serving the high school, and ways that we could kind of work together and improve that situation. So as part of the P&E study, we've evaluated a variety of environmental effects, social considerations, and cultural environment, natural environment, such as wetland and wildlife and floodplains, and then the physical environment, such as noise impacts. All that has been considered, and currently we have been working on have that in draft documents, have identified the potential range of impacts when it comes to implementing this project. Of course, we're in the P&E stage, and that will continue to be evaluated and refined as we go into the design phase. So this is the project cost. We're shy of $1 billion for this investment. Of course, that would be phased and staggered over the years, and that is currently the estimate that we're at. And currently, we have a segment that is funded for design, but currently no funding for right-of-way or construction phases. This is the study schedule. Back in the summer, we had the alternatives public information meeting. Also made a presentation before this board as well. Currently now, we are holding a public hearing for the project. The public hearing, last night actually, we held the virtual component of that public hearing, and then tomorrow evening, we're going to be hosting the in-person component of that public hearing, located at the Hilton Garden Inn right there at the Suncoast Parkway and State Road 54 interchange. So of course we invite you to tomorrow's event, but if you're interested in seeing all the materials and the presentation that we're going to be providing to the public, that is currently available on the project website, suncoastparkwaypde.com. So if you have additional information, I'll be taking questions, of course, but COC Fine is the Turnpike's contact, as well as Greg Moore, both of them who are with me here today. So with that, if there are any questions?
Thank you very much. Board members, questions? Are there any questions? If not, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Yes, Dr. Wong.
Sorry, before you turn and leave, I'd just like to let the board know that during a committee presentation, a question came up about whether the plan for the Suncoast widening would allow for transit accommodations. We did reach out to Turnpike, and they provided us with a response that the original plan did not assume transit going through that corridor. At the same time, TPO staff, upon receiving the presentation materials, suggested to our peer agency that the reversible lane concept be documented. I understand it was too late to give that a thorough evaluation as the PD&E is getting closer to wrap up. But with the long-term vision through this corridor being 8 lanes, at least through Hillsborough County, and possibly needing to extend that further north, whatever nominal gains we can squeak out from a capacity standpoint, I think it would be wise to take advantage of that, because undoubtedly population growth will drive greater volumes, maybe not to 2050, but when a planning study is needed to accommodate that traffic for 2070, 2080, a reversible lane concept, I think, makes sense to keep on our radar.
Thank you, Dr. Wong. All right, Executive Director's report.
Oh, thank you. Should have kept my mic on. I'll begin by proposing a cancellation of the TPO special meeting that's on our calendars for May 6th. We had this time blocked off to provide any updates related to the regional merger study. By May 6th, we won't have an update. We won't have sufficient updates to take up the entire meeting time. What I can provide to you today is that we just closed out the solicitation process for consultants to take on the forthcoming merger study. I'm getting together with the rest of the selection committee this Friday to evaluate the proposals, and based on the results of that, we'll take it from there. What we're aiming for is to have a recommended consultant to present to the TMA at its upcoming meeting, and then we'll bring that back to our board for approval of the final contract by August, which means, assuming no delays, we'll still be on track, or we'll still be on schedule with that study. So when I wrap up, if Chair, you would like to entertain a motion to cancel that meeting, that would be helpful. Following that, the regular TPO meeting will be held May 14th. Heard a comment, or an offer rather, from Rick Fernandez, the chair of the CAC, for you all to attend the CAC's priority list workshop. Once we get out of this meeting, I'll work with staff to have that date sent over to you if anyone would like to attend. I have updates on some bills that we're tracking moving through the state legislature. HB 85 is one that deals with hazardous walking conditions. It expands the criteria to identify a hazardous location and expands that to locations that are within a specified distance from limited access facilities. That has now passed unanimously in both the House and the Senate and was referred to rules. The way that this impacts the TPO is anytime there is a hazardous location brought to the school district's attention, the school district, in coordination with DOT, the local government, and the TPO, sends staff to go out and perform an evaluation and document a report. The report then has to create a game plan, if you will, to address that hazardous location within the next 5 years. So if this moves forward, it will require a little bit of additional staff time, but we have someone on staff specifically tasked with taking these on, and she loves doing the work, so I don't see that as an issue. The second bill that we've been tracking is SB 462, which pertains to changing statutory language related to MPO activities, changing the definition of MPO activities from planning surface transportation to multimodal, which could mean that the MPO will have to produce plans for advanced air mobility, So through the air, transportation over water, and then the micro modes, electric scooters and bike share. That legislation would also cap the number of MPOs across the state at the number which exists as of July 2025. So moving forward after that date, no new MPOs across the state can be created. And most notably, the bill would eliminate the MPOAC. There are two comparative bills, one in the House and the Senate, and SB 462 has a companion in the House, which is, a companion in the House moving forward, which is scheduled to go to the Transportation and Economic Development Subcommittee. Last item for me, and I want to close out, is this Sunday in the Tampa Bay Times, you'll see a very long editorial on pedestrian safety and some of the challenges that the Tampa Bay region faces addressing this issue. TPO staff provided the Times with some data to support their editorial. We also did, a number of TPO staff did interviews to inform that. It's a really long but good article, and I would encourage all of you to check it out. I'll send you the link after this meeting. I think that's all from me, unless there are any questions.
I have a question before I forget. I've not read the bill that caps the number of MPOs throughout the state of Florida, but I'm assuming from your summary that you just gave that if we were to merge our 3 TPOs into one, that there would be no going back, because that would then be an increase of 2 MPOs. If we became one at some point in the future, that reduced number of NPOs, we could never go backwards to split up again? Is that how that bill?
That's my reading of it, yes, Mayor Ross. So currently, there are 27 MPOs across the state. If we were to merge, that number would go down to 25, and assuming that there are no changes to that statutory language, be 25 in perpetuity.
Okay. I mean, it would be very difficult to do that, practically speaking anyway, but it would legally not be permitted.
I should say no more than 25.
Okay. Commissioner Bowles.
Yeah, Dr. Wong, on that article, I actually got a link to that this morning from the Tampa Times, and it was very, very informative. And if you do have the opportunity to send it out to the board, I think it would certainly bring some light to some of the issues we discussed a few months back when we were talking about pedestrians and our goals to be at 0 and all that. When we're highest, Hillsborough and Pinellas are the highest in the nation for pedestrian deaths and fatalities and injuries. So, you know, anything that we can do, I think, to certainly mitigate that on this board and within our jurisdictions would be great. And that certainly looks like a good launching pad for some thought, projects to go out there.
Thank you, Commissioner. Other questions, board members, comments? Okay, going back to the proposed cancellation of our May 6th meeting, seeing as there's
I'll move to cancel the May 6th meeting.
We have a, everybody jumps out when you want to cancel a meeting. So we have a motion by Commissioner Cohen, seconded by Commissioner Wassel. Any discussion? Anybody really want to meet? Okay, if not, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? No nays. We will cancel that meeting. Dr. Wong. And we are now on the decline reimbursement of federal carbon reduction. You didn't cover that, did you?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's
Yeah,
all
I
right.
overlooked that. I'm sure I'm not breaking the news to you, but several weeks ago, the governor's administration met with the federal DOJ and agreed to return some federal funding that was owed to the state of Florida. My understanding is that it was about $900 million in funding total, with about 1/3 of that designated for transportation projects. The money is not being held by the state of Florida currently. It was intended to be spent and then reimbursed through the federal process. What that means for the TPO specifically is that one federal funding program, which has projects identified in our TIP, is carbon reduction. Well, the funding program is carbon reduction funds. The projects that we were intending to fund with that were filling in sidewalk gaps on state roads that are high crash corridors. As it's my understanding that at least a couple of those projects have advanced through design, and the state will not be able to reimburse for that. Doesn't mean that the projects are done, or I'm sorry, it doesn't mean that the projects won't move forward. What it means is that the state will have to get creative and potentially reapportion some of its existing funds to move those projects forward. TPO also can utilize its SU dollars to advance those projects. That would be a question that we could entertain during the TIP hearing.
Any questions regarding that, board members? Okay, that concludes the executive director's report. Is there any old or new business to discuss? Seeing none, anything else to come before the board before we adjourn? Okay, if not, we will be adjourned.